man, this thing, dear Lord, this thing has so much torque. Oh my! It was accelerating up that hill. Hey, what's going on? Today we're going to be checking out the Magician Alpha. We're going to be doing a quick unboxing and assembly. Stay. We're going to do a quick unboxing and initial impressions video. And in later videos, we're going to do an official review video. Laura really wants to be in this video. She really wants some attention. You want attention? Is that what you want? Or do you want a treat? You want a treat? Okay, come here. You want this treat? All right, you gotta do some tricks for the audience. Spin. Over here. Down. Wait.
Bruh.
Okay. What a good girl. Unleash the wild power. I love the smell of 72 volt high powered e-bikes in the morning. Alright, see what we got. Oh no. Kickstand broke. Damn. Well, now we get a chance to test out Magician's customer service. And by the way, this isn't going to be a full assembly video. Magician does have a dedicated assembly video on their YouTube channel. So if you get this bike, make sure you check that out. Alright, so in this box, looks like I opened it upside down. We get some pedals. We get a headlight. There's metal heatsink on the outside. That's nice. These LEDs do sometimes get hot, and having a heatsink on the outside is going to help them stay cool. And an Allen wrench tool set. Magician First Edition gift set. Nice. Let's see what's in here. You get a water bottle holder. This looks like a bell. And it looks like we get a phone holder as well. Very nice. All right, let's keep going. There's our Bustin display. Looks like we get 4 keys, 2 for the rear, 2 for the front. No! All right, stuff is falling out. I gotta reset my workstation. And there she is. Check out this gigantic motor. Holy, this thing is huge. And this is Bustin's new 72 volt system. Check that out, 3,000 watts nominal. And I know this is nice and quiet as well. Can't wait to test this out. All right, we got our handlebars. Looks like this is our seat. All right. That's what the seat looks like. It's got a decent amount of squish, although I know a lot of you guys are gonna replace the seat with something big, wide, and super squishy, which is probably what I'm gonna do as well. It says it's got memory foam, and it does feel like it. This is a pretty nice looking seat. One more box over here. Looks like this is the charger. So this is an actively cooled 3 amp charger. And it does look like we also get another charger, which is also a 3 amp charger. So with this bike, you're gonna get 2 3 amp chargers. So that's gonna give us 6 amps of charging rate for the 2 batteries that this bike comes with. So right now I'm gonna finish putting this bike together. I'll see you guys outside for the test ride. And by the way, the update process for the firmware on this bike is very easy. First, you just download the Bustin Go app. Go ahead and open the app up. And there it is. My bike is detected. And you will get a notification on your main screen of the app saying there's an over-the-air update available. But if you go into the settings, click on your e-bike right here, you'll see over-the-air update at the bottom. And right now it says no available updates because mine was completely updated, but this is great because you can easily update the software on your Magician Alpha simply using your phone. All right, guys, so we got the Magician Alpha out. What we're gonna do today is a top speed run. We're also gonna do the steep, grassy hill test. Pretty sure this bike is gonna make it up there, no sweat. And just riding down to this filming area right here, I discovered that you have to reseat the tire. A lot of the times these e-bikes come shipped to you with very low or zero tire pressure, which means the tire sometimes comes off, it gets shifted around, and you have to be careful. When you reinflate it, you have to make sure the tire is seated in there properly. So
during my ride, I did notice some metal scraping sounds from the brakes of this bike. At first, I thought my brake caliper needed some adjusting, but after speaking with Magician customer service, they said that after their testing of this bike, they decided to go with a metal material brake pad since they have great longevity and good heat-resistant characteristics. So from my experience, when I was braking from a high speed, the brakes are nice and quiet since the brake pads are warmed up, but if the pads are cold and doing slow speed braking, those metal pads did make a noticeable scraping sound when pressed against the rotors.
To this bike, the Magician Alpha, you guys can use my code MAXCHARGE to save $100 off your purchasing price. Let's jump right on. Let's see what the power levels are like on this bike. All right, guys, we are out on the road on the new Magician Alpha. Literally just put this thing outside. I haven't been riding this bike around, and I'm not just gonna fake my initial impressions on this. This is gonna be the initial impressions on this bike. Already, I felt like there was a good amount of torque on tap, and let's see how this goes. We're on stealth mode right now. Let's open it up. Oh God. Okay. What the hell? Holy crap! Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. Yikes. Acceleration. Holy. You know, in some of my earlier videos, I used to say a lot of Jesus and oh my God, and I started getting comments saying you shouldn't use the Lord's name in vain. And I looked back at a lot of my videos, and you know what? I just didn't like how it sounded either. So I stopped saying that, but sometimes it slips out because yeah, just genuinely surprised by things. And this bike, okay, is so far surprising me. Let's switch it to that climb mode. Yeah, this thing, dear Lord, this thing has so much torque. Wow. I can't wait to do the full review on this thing. And by the way, this is the second day after I put this bike together, and I did reach out to Magician to replace that kickstand, and they already got back to me and said they're gonna send me a new one. And they did make note that, you know, obviously that happened during shipping, and hopefully they're going to ship that differently in the future batches to make sure that doesn't happen. I know I am a content creator for these e-bikes, I am a reviewer, so I don't get the same experience as a normal customer would, but so far, even from my perspective, they've been very, very communicative and very helpful answering any kind of questions I have. Now, for bikes that a lot of people want to learn more about, I try and make multiple videos on them. Like this one, I know you guys are really interested in this, so today what we're going to be doing is going to the grassy hill area to see how it does up our grassy, steep and bumpy hill climb. And we're also going to do a top speed test as well. Another plus about doing these multiple videos is me finding out if there's any kind of issues after assembling the bike. And it seems like I do have to reseat the front tire because I feel some vibration in that front tire. And that's not really the fault of any kind of defect at all. It happens all the time on lots and lots of different bikes. So for the review ride, I'll definitely have to just deflate that tire, reseat the edges, and then inflate it back up, and we should be fine. I already know this bike is gonna make it up this hill just from the torque that I felt earlier from accelerating. But I would like to see just how quickly it climbs this hill.
We're gonna do this again for the review ride, so I don't have my drone or anything. Let's bring it in climb mode, see how it does. We are on pretty much a full charge, 97% battery. I charged this bike up yesterday. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah. Oh my, holy crap. You guys see that speedometer? That was accelerating. It was accelerating up that hill. Wow. Let me get my GPS app open again. That was insane. There's very clearly an arms race in terms of how much power people can add to these e-bikes. Some might even question if these are e-bikes anymore. A lot of people call these things motorcycles. Some companies call them something entirely different, maybe for legal reasons. And it seems like every year people say this. First there were 35-mile-an-hour e-bikes, then there were 40-mile-an-hour e-bikes, then there are 45-mile-an-hour e-bikes, and every single time people say, I don't know why you would ever want more power. I don't know why you would ever want more power. And I'm gonna say that about this too. I don't know why you would ever want more power than what this currently has. Unless you're doing something extremely intense off-road, where maybe you need to climb an extremely steep and bumpy hill. The amount of power that this thing gives you, for most people, this is way more than enough. This just has an insane amount of power. But what's nice about this bike versus some of the competition out there is that it uses the new Bafang 72 volt, 3000 watt nominal motor, and it's so quiet. It's so insanely quiet. All you hear are the tires and wind, and that's it. And if you put smooth treaded tires on this bike, you wouldn't even hear the tires, you would just hear wind. This motor is amazing. I really hope it does last. It is a new motor, so time will tell as to how durable it is as people continue to receive their bikes with this system. But Bafang has been in the motor industry for a very, 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 very long time. So I'm inclined to believe that they probably know what they're doing when it comes to designing motors. Before we do the top speed run, I wanted to mention that these high-powered e-bikes can absolutely be used for what I call normie class 1, 2, or 3 speed e-bike activities. As part of my testing for this initial impressions video, I took the Magician Alpha on a bike and walking trail with my girlfriend and her towing the dog for some casual slow riding. We also took a little break and visited a local pizza shop. 2 days later, I took the Alpha on a large group ride on the same trail where we averaged 10 to 15 miles an hour, and we traveled a total of 30 miles. 2 of my friends tested the Magician Alpha and they absolutely loved it. The standard bicycle geometry of the frame, plus the quiet motor, really help it stay off the radar of anyone who might think this is anything other than a large e-bike. Alright, we are rolling up to our top speed testing site. This bike is actually so fast, this is probably the fastest thing I would take on this road. I know this goes 50, we're at essentially a full fresh charge. And what I'm going to do is just make sure there's no cars in front of me when I'm trying to reach full speed. Alright, here we go, we're good. Here we go. Pedal up to speeds, we can get up to speed faster. Pedal, 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 pedal. Holy crap. Holy crap! 47, 48, oh my god! 48, 49! Okay, I gotta slow down. Holy crap. I think we would have hit 50 if we kept going. Holy crap. We are gonna do that the other way. And for the full review ride, I'm gonna make sure I get a full runway to max out the top speed of this bike. What this bike makes you feel is that oh shit feeling of, okay, now we're in real high-speed territory. You get that visceral feel of, I better be careful. And if you are watching this channel, you are a high IQ, intelligent, beautiful, independent-minded thinker. You know exactly how to operate this high-powered machinery over here. If you're unsure about high-powered e-bikes, this isn't the bike for you. But if you know how to handle yourself and you're a responsible individual, you will know how to operate this piece of machinery, and you're gonna love every minute of it. Let's do that again, going the other way. We gotta make sure we don't have any traffic in front of us, because if you guys notice, you'll just end up catching up to that traffic. Here we go. Yeah, it's acceleration. Yikes. Pedal, 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 pedal. All right, here we go. We're flying! Woo! 48! 49! Okay. Oh my goodness. Woo! Oh, that was exhilarating. So the tire actually felt pretty smooth on that top speed run. I'm still gonna reseat that front tire. Yikes, this acceleration is ridiculous. Guys, look at this acceleration. It's nuts. Okay, watch this speedometer and watch this speedometer. Ready, go. Watch how fast we get to 30. There it is, 30. That's wild. This is like E-moto acceleration. Yikes. And since trying many dual motor e-bikes and then modifying my own dual motor e-bike back in the day, my Psycho Cycle, I am a firm believer that dual motors are not the way to go, guys. They're only good if this whole system is weak enough so that the front wheel will not spin out, or we have traction control. And as far as I can tell, I haven't seen any traction control systems on e-bikes yet, except for the Flipski controller, which does offer that. I know my buddy E-Bike Builder has made a dual motor bike with traction control, and that sounds fantastic. He said it's really good. The best way to go is a mid-drive system. However, then you run into issues like chains breaking, cassettes breaking, because there's so much power going through them. I don't think we really have a drivetrain that's robust enough yet to handle a mid-drive system with multiple gears at the back. Really, the best way to go is an E-moto setup with a big motor in the front, one gear in the back, and a whole lot of power. But considering E-motos are getting impounded left and right, a bike like this is gonna be your next best bet. I don't have to worry about the front wheel losing traction. I don't have the extra weight of a giant front motor in the front. Trust me, guys, this has so much acceleration, you won't need any more. Like, this is incredible. No wheel spin, nothing. What's nice about this frame versus an E-moto, number one, it looks like a normal bicycle, so you're gonna fly under the radar when you buy something like this. You have pedals, it looks like a bicycle. But the geometry will make it so that it won't wheelie as easily. I used to have an E-moto, the Alta Sigma, I actually sold it, that was advertised to peak at 20,000 watts. And it had so much power, I had to practice to launch it. It wanted to wheelie no matter what. I would lean over the handlebars to try and keep the handlebars down. So this doesn't have that much power, but I think it has the right amount. I ended up selling that bike because I learned a valuable lesson. There is a such thing as too much power. I've experienced it. Even in the E-moto side of things, you've got Saronster in one of his videos saying his perfect amount of power, in his opinion, is about 15,000 watts for an E-moto to have as much fun as you would need. And that is for an E-moto. For an e-bike, I think this is plenty. Look at this. We can catch up to any car, pretty much anywhere except the highway. Unbelievable. 49. Holy crap. All right, this is crazy. This bike is an animal, but it's so quiet, so you don't know. The motors aren't screaming at you like on some other bikes. So that is it for today's initial impressions review. Just wanted to take this bike out for its maiden voyage and see what I need to tune up, what I need to adjust. Future videos, we're going to be doing a review on this bike, and we're also going to be doing a high-speed throttle-only range test. Something tells me that we're going to get a whole lot of range with this dual battery system. And again, if you guys do want to check this bike out, I will leave it listed in the description below, along with any available coupon codes or discounts. So that is it for today, folks. Until next time.